Hey y'all, welcome back to Astrology Decoded. I'm Nyx. Nice to meet you if it's your first time here. Now, I want to ask you something before we dive in. Have you ever felt like you were living somebody else's life? Or maybe not someone else's life exactly, but the version of yours that didn't quite fit? Like you were wearing someone's shoe or wearing shoes that were almost your size, close enough to walk in, but just not quite right enough to like run in, jump in, or do any strenuous activity in. Or maybe you're somebody that's been going through something that your usual tools just aren't reaching. You've talked to people, you've done the journaling, you've prayed, you've done all the things that you're supposed to do, and like still something just feels far out of reach. Some footing, some understanding, a deeper knowing of why things are unfolding the way that they are. If that resonates, this episode may be for you, because today we're going to be talking about the natal chart. What it is, what it isn't, how to begin reading yours, and why once it finally clicks, it may change the way you see a lot of things. Now let's start back at the very beginning, shall we? Now, a natal chart is also called a birth chart. It is essentially a snapshot of the sky at the exact moment you drew your very first breath on this earthly plane. The exact moment, not just the day, not just the month or the year, the very moment when every planet was positioned, what sign it occupied, what house it was moving through, and the relationships those planets were forming with each other at the precise second that you took your very first breath. Try to think of it like this, if you will. Imagine the universe took a photograph of the moment you arrived. And in that photograph, every planet, every sign, every energetic influence was captured exactly where it stood. That photograph is essentially your natal chart, and it belongs to you and only you, because nobody else was born in the exact same place at the exact same time on the exact same day as you. I mean, if you think about it, even identical twins born seconds to minutes apart can arrive with subtle but meaningful differences in their chart. Sorry, something's in my eye. That's how specific this is. That's how personal your natal chart is, right? Now, to give you a bird's eye view of what you're actually looking at when you pull up your chart, because honestly, the first time most people look at it, it's a lot. It looks like a lot. So you'll see a circle divided into sections, symbols scattered everywhere, numbers and degrees, and lines crossing through the middle in what appears to be complete and utter chaos. Now, don't worry, I see you, I was you, we gonna talk about that, okay? But here's what you were essentially looking at. The signs, aka the 12 zodiac signs according to the Gregorian calendar, okay? Aries through Pisces, each one an energy, each an archetype, a personality blueprint. They describe the how energy expresses itself, how it shows up, how certain parts of you move through this world. Then you have the planets. Each planet in your chart represents a different part of you, your mind, your emotions, your drive, your values, how you love, how you communicate, how you transform. Those planets describe the what is being expressed and through which part of your personality. Then you have the houses. The chart is divided into 12 houses, each one governing a different part of your life: identity, money, communication, home, relationships, career, spirituality, and so much more. The houses describe the where. Where in your life is this energy playing out? Then you have the aspects, the lines that you see going through the middle of the chart, the center. Those are aspects, the conversation happening between planets. Some are flowing, some are harmonious, some are tense, some are challenging, all of them informative. And then you have the degrees, Chiron, the nodes, stellium, retrogrades, all in your personal chart. I know. That's a lot, right? But don't worry, we're going to break it down, every single one of these aspects, into its own detailed episode throughout the series. So please come back for more. But understanding all of this in one day is absolutely never the goal. You just need to understand today, at least, your chart, what it is, and why it matters. Which brings me to the next part that I want to talk about. Now, in my personal experience, I've seen people find their way to their natal chart through one of two common doors. The first door is curiosity. Maybe you've been a little woo, right? A little spiritually inclined in this fashion, already exploring energy work, meditation, or divination cards, or some other tool that speaks to the part of you that knows that there's more to this human experience than what meets the eye. For you, the natal chart is another language to learn, another lens through which to understand yourself and the energy that you're moving through. You arrive open, curious, ready to go deeper. Then there's the second door. It's a little different. The second door is the one people come to when their usual path just isn't reaching what they themselves are trying to reach. Maybe you've been going through something for a while now and you've tried the traditional routes, the conversations, the prayers, the therapy, the journaling, the advice from people who you love, and all of that is amazing. Yet still, it feels like something is still just out of grasp. That could be clarity, direction, an answer to a question like, why is this happening? Why do I keep repeating the same pattern? Why does this area of my life feel so stuck, right? And somewhere, maybe out of curiosity, maybe out of desperation, maybe a little bit of both, you find your way to astrology, to your natal chart, looking for something, an answer, a blueprint, if you will. And to both of you, the curious one and the one who's been going through it, honestly, you're in the right place. Because the natal chart doesn't give two flying Fs about what door you come through. It just holds what it holds. And what it holds is a surprisingly detailed map of who you are, how you're wired, what you're here to work through, and what you're here to build. Now, in regards to my own personal experience with my natal chart, I sure as shit did not have a light bulb moment once I saw it. Not at first anyway. The first time I pulled up my chart, I looked at it like, and then I just closed it. Yep. And that happened a lot at the beginning for me because it was a lot to try to take in and digest. All of those symbols, all of those degrees, all of that information sitting in a circle, staring back at me like it was waiting for me to understand something that I absolutely did not and could not understand at that time. But eventually I began to take it in smaller doses, a little here, a little there, reading what I could and letting the rest sit for however long until I was ready to digest more. And even then, a lot of it wouldn't stick. I'd read something, felt like I almost grasped it, and then I'd lose it all over again. It wasn't until I sat down with my astrologer, which my bestie introduced me to, so thank you, bestie, and who I've grown to trust completely. Honestly, I recommend her to everybody I know at this point. But it wasn't until my second session with her when I finally had the confidence to ask her questions I'd been sitting with. And when she started breaking things down into everyday language, the light bulb moments started coming one after another. Not rapidly, but they were coming. And I'll be honest, some of them made me feel a little silly because once it clicked, it felt obvious. Like, oh, of course. How did I not see that before? Hindsight 2020, right? But that's how language works. Once you learn a word, you can't unknow it. You start hearing it everywhere and seeing it in places that you never noticed before. That's what happened when my chart started making sense to me. The way I looked at situations playing out around me, that shifted. Old wounds stopped speaking quite so loudly. Egoic reactions started having less of a grip. Understanding replaced judgment of myself and of others. Discernment got sharper. And when something happened, something that used to send me into a tailspin of a spiral, I could reflect faster, assess faster, shift my energy, my course of action, my perspective faster. Not perfectly. I'm still human. I still have very human responses to very human things, but I would move through them differently now, or at least I would try to. And that shift, it started with understanding my chart, at least for me. So your natal chart, it does not, I just want to say, it doesn't rob you of your free will. You get to make your own decisions. You get to decide what path you walk. You get to decide if you take action on something or not. You get to decide if you learn the lesson or not. It is not your destiny. Let me say that again. Your natal chart is not your destiny. It is not some fixed script that you have no choice but to follow. It's not a prediction of everything that will happen to you. It's not a ceiling. It's a blueprint, your personal blueprint. And like any blueprint, it describes the design, the structure, the unique architecture of who you are energetically, emotionally, and spiritually. But you are still the one holding the tools. You decide what gets built, what gets renovated, what stays, what gets torn down, and what gets expanded. The blueprint doesn't build the house, you do. What the blueprint gives you, what your natal chart gives you, is self-knowledge. And self-knowledge is honestly one of the most powerful tools any human being can hold. Because when you understand essentially how you're wired, why certain situations may trigger you, why certain patterns keep repeating, why certain areas of your life flow easily while others seem like you're pushing against a current, you stop fighting yourself and you start working with yourself, and that changes a lot of things for you. So here's what I want to encourage you to do after you watch this. Go pull up your chart, boo. You'll need 3 things: your date of birth, your place of birth, and your exact time of birth if you have it. The time matters. It affects your rising sign and your placement of your houses. So if you can find it, amazing. It's worth tracking down. However, if you're shit out of luck and you can't find it, no biggie. Just choose noon as your time of birth. You won't get the exact blueprint unique to you, but you'll get a very healthy baseline that you can start working with. For where I go to, I always recommend Cafe Astrology. It's one of the best, in my opinion, because it's free and it offers you a lot of information. You can look it up both ways, whether it's your birth chart or your natal chart. Either way, it's rich. And once you find your way around in the depth of information available to you, it is extraordinary. You may also hear people talking about CoStar or Astra. Both are apps, both are more visually intuitive, both have free versions, though if you want to go deeper, it may require a subscription to unlock the core features. Browse, explore. Find the one that feels best for you. And when you pull up your chart, I want you to do something that's a little bit counterintuitive. Don't try to understand everything at once. Just look at it. Sit with it. Notice what draws your eye. Notice what feels familiar even before you know why. And then come back to the series episode by episode and we'll decode it together, piece by piece, layer by layer, in a way that I hope actually sticks for you. And for those of you who want to go deeper than a YouTube series or an app can take you, honestly consider booking a session with a personal astrologer that you trust. I already know one. Now is a beautiful time to reach out, by the way. If you don't have someone, I do have someone, like I said before, I completely trust her. Someone I've recommended to every single person in my world who's ever asked anyway. Someone who, if I'm being honest, kind of inspired this series. She gives me my personal blueprint based off of my chart and the cosmic climate for the year ahead. I choose to sit with her every other year as a birthday gift to myself. Not every year, because honestly, I understand energy and timelines, and the point of catalyzation is not always the point of fruition. Things take time to tangibly unfold, and I trust that. But when I do sit with her, it is always worth it. Super enlightening. But fair warning, if you want to book with her, she books up weeks to months in advance. But honestly, she's worth the wait, in my opinion. And if you'd like me to connect you with her, please drop in the comments the word blueprint, and I'll make sure you find your way to her, okay? One last thing, okay? So your natal chart is not a mystery designed to confuse you. It's a language designed to know you. And like any language, it takes time, it takes patience, it takes someone occasionally breaking it down into words that finally make sense. That's what I hope to do with this series, and we've only just begun. So in the next episode, we're diving into the big 3. That's your sun sign, your moon sign, and your rising sign. The 3 placements most people have already heard about, and the 3 placements that too many of us only partially understand. Hopefully, we're going to evolve that. So subscribe so you don't miss it. And remember, drop blueprint in the comments if you want to connect with my astrologer or something juicy. Tell me, have you ever pulled up your natal chart before? And what was your first reaction? I would love to know. Until next time, beloveds, please take care of that beautiful energy of yours. And I will see you soon. Take care.